Hi, my name is Skylar Ramirez. Welcome to our Yoga for Everybody session today. Let's go ahead and get started by lying down on the floor with our knees bent. Get comfortable. Make sure you have pillows or blankets around you. From here, we're allowing our hands to rest on the belly or maybe out to the side as we begin to focus just on our breath. Inhaling in through the nose, encourage the breath to go down into your belly and hip region. Then exhale from the throat and relax your jaw. Let those exhales go with a big sigh of relief. At some point, maybe the exhale becomes just a little more passive, less of a sigh, and more of just this breathy release, letting go of any tension, any stress that might be hiding in the body today. Let's stretch the arms up over our head, opening up the armpits and stretching from the sides of the body. Still noticing the breath. At any time, if we're not able to get in a really good breath, focus on the exhale. The exhale is what makes space for the inhale. From here, let's bring our left knee in, holding on behind the leg, and bring the right knee in as well. Hugging both knees in towards the belly and chest, allowing our knees to rock a little bit side to side, a little bit of gentle pressure down on the low back. Experimenting with crossing the ankles, either left over right or right over left, just whatever's more comfortable. And then open the knees wide. So it's this expression of Sukhasana, easy seated pose, while we lie down on our backs. And then letting the body rock a little bit side to side again. We could always match the breath to the movement, choreographing our practice. We exhale when we twist. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, twist. Let's bring it to center, uncrossing the ankles, bringing the knees together to touching, and maybe taking the hands over the tops of the knees and just gently rocking those knees out, then in. Matching the breath to this, inhale, the knees gently rock away. Exhale, gently drawing the knees in towards the chest. Inhaling, knees rock away, the lungs and the belly are open, ready to receive the breath. Exhale, knees rocking in, gentle contraction, gentle compression in that abdominal region. Just a couple more. Taking our sweet time to loosen up any energies in the body that might be a little stagnant or sluggish. Let's extend the legs up to the sky, pointing the toes. And then maybe hold on to the sides of the thighs or knees so that we're able to just create a little more comfort and security with those energies. Point and flex the feet a few times. Let's loosen up the ankles. Spread the toes out wide and then move those toes around. Let's circle out the ankles. Maybe just one at a time. or circle them both. At some point, switching directions with those circles, circling clockwise and counterclockwise, giving our bodies a chance to work out any tension, any tight spots or kinks in those joints. From here, let's slowly bend the knees. See that the knees are at about hips width distance. And now place the feet on the floor with the knees bent. Let's press our hands down beside our hips onto the floor, establishing our resting position for the low back. Press down into the feet. On an inhale, begin to peel up the hips, slowly hovering that low back off the floor. Exhale, slowly lower the hips and extend the arms overhead. Matching this to our breath, every inhale, the hips come up, the hands press down to give us a little additional lift. On the exhale, hips come down, arms float overhead. Let's do just a couple more. Inhale, lifting the hips. Exhale, lower. The arm movement is completely optional. Sometimes the arms just aren't quite ready for this sort of movement and pressure from the floor. So you can always just do the arms only or the hips only. Let's return our hands to the floor. Take those feet out really wide, maybe even off of your yoga mat. Let's move into some windshield wiper knees. On our next exhale, twisting those knees over to one side, allowing our bodies to choose that twist. Inhaling through center. Exhale, knees twist over to the other side. Inhaling through center. Exhale, gentle twist. Now we can keep moving. In the warm-up, we usually recommend that you move one breath, one movement, but your body is going to tell you when it wants to be still and when it wants to move. So at any time, if your body wants to hold some part of this stretch, feel free to just be still and explore those different sensations from the physical body. If you're alternating, let's even this up for our bodies on left and right. Meeting at center, we'll walk our feet in. And then let those knees sway a little bit again, just allowing the body to feel those bones hooked up into the hips at a more neutral position. When you're ready, go ahead and roll over onto one side. From here, finding our top hand for support, we're rolling into that hand towards the floor, using both our hands to walk ourselves up into an all fours position. From all fours, maybe touch those toes together and open the knees wide. Let's press the hips back towards our heels, and the hips may or may not touch. This can be a lot of movement on the kneecaps, so if there's any pain at all, keep those hips lifted away. Let's stretch the arms out in front of our body in our extended child's pose with wide knees, opening up through the hips and the pelvis region. Relax your head down onto the floor, or you're welcome to keep the head lifted, especially where there are cases of dizziness, vertigo, sinus drainage, or headache. You can always keep your head lifted. Let's practice a couple big exhales here, relaxing the jaw. Just one more. From here, we'll shift forward, extending the arms out again, bringing the knees into a more neutral position, preparing ourselves to come up to standing, moving nice and slow. We step 1 foot forward and maybe place a hand on that thigh for support, tucking the back toe as we lunge forward, pushing forward and lifting that back leg. You're in an active high lunge, And then stepping forward, hands to the thighs for support. Let's walk the hands up so we can slowly make our way up into mountain pose. Once we come up to standing, we'll kick off the legs, maybe shake off the arms or move those hands around a little bit. Moving into our standing warm-up, let's take the feet out wide on our yoga mat today, and we'll turn the toes out. Bending the knees, let's see that the knees bend in the same direction as usually your second, third, and fourth toes, so the middle toes. Bending the knees, seeing that those knees track in a more neutral position. Let's open up the arms, keeping those elbows bent with the knees bent. On the inhale, straightening the legs, reaching the arms out into a 5-pointed star. Exhale, bending the knees, pulling those elbows in, coming down again into our expression of a moonflower. Inhale, rising up, 5-pointed star. Exhale, slowly lower down, moonflower, pulling the elbows back behind the waist and ribs. Inhale, rising up, big breath in, maybe even lifting the chin and stretching the throat. Exhale, coming down, nice and slow. Little hinge of the hips back to protect that low back and pelvis. Inhale, rising up, breathing in through the nose. And then exhale down, out from the throat, loosening the hips. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, breathe in, reach up. Exhale, coming down, soft jaw. Closing the eyes at any time to experiment with our center of gravity while we move. Inhale, rising up, big breath in. This time we'll bend the knees, still a little hinge in the hips, but this time shift forward with a flat back, keeping the head higher than the heart and the heart higher than the hips, protecting blood pressure. Let's take the arms in front of us without collapsing the upper back, keeping the ribs and the spine long. Take the arms in front of the body. Inhale, rise it back up. Big breath in. Exhaling, swan diving. Arms go to the side. Knees bend in the direction of the toes. Push the pelvis and hips behind you. Take the arms in front of the body, looking forward. Inhale, rising up. Sunflower flow. Exhaling down, hips back. Inhaling up and overhead with the arms. Couple more. If you're noticing any tightness in the back or even down into the spine, exhale even more from the jaw. Big exaggerated exhale. Inhale, rising up, big breath in. Let's bring our hands together at the heart, stepping to the top of our mat to find mountain pose. Hips at the width of our feet, hips width, hands to the heart. From here, soften the knees. Let's take our left foot back, a casual stride, keeping that right knee bent with the left foot back. Inhale, reaching the arms straight up overhead into warrior one pose. Holding it here, let's lower the chin and close the eyes, feeling the sensations in the soles of the feet that keep us connected to the earth. Pressing into the inner and outer blades of the feet. Pull the muscles up in the pelvic floor. This is known as the root lock, Mula Bandha. Inhale, reaching dynamically. Exhale, let's slowly relax the shoulders. Inhale, circle those arms behind your body, letting the knuckles rest by your hips or hands by the hips. As we inhale, let's straighten that right leg, both legs straight. Pulling the shoulders back, imagining you're trying to hold a golf ball between the shoulder blades. Let's lift the chin. 3 big breaths into the heart. Exhale, relax. Inhale into the upper chest. Exhale, soften. Last one, upper chest breath. And then soften. Inhale, let's bend that right knee. Bring the arms overhead. Exhale, swan diving. Hands come down onto that right thigh. Let's bend the left knee a little bit as well and push the hips back while we drop and lower the chest just a little bit. From here, we might shift back and lift the right toe away from the floor, keeping both knees bent as we begin to put just a little more pressure into the right heel, lifting that right toe off the floor, creating maybe a little more of a stretch on the right calf or behind that right ankle. From here, we can look forward, keeping our spine long, keeping the back flat. Big inhale in place. Exhale, soften. Let's try one more. Big inhale in place. Exhale, soften. With that softening, this time relax your upper spine. Let it round softly, creating almost like the shape of a soft C or a little clamshell shape. Relaxing the head and the neck, releasing any tension in the back of the neck. Let's shake the head yes, and turn that head left and right. Lowering down that right foot, let's walk our hands up nice and slow, finding neutral spine. Stepping forward, having the feet at the width of the pelvis or hips. Inhale, circling the arms overhead. Exhale, circle the arms back, opening up the chest, stretching the sides of the armpits and waist. Two more. Inhale, reach. Exhale, back. Just one more big breath in. And exhale, back. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, hands to the heart. This time, stepping the right foot back, keeping the left knee bent. Inhaling the arms straight up overhead. Warrior one pose. Virabhadrasana Eka. Warrior one. Looking straight ahead, we continue to lunge forward. Take the shoulders back over the hips. Press the shoulders down towards the hip joints to create a nice tight contraction at the waistline, strengthening the side trunk muscles. We could look up if it's more comfortable to stretch and open the throat. Big inhale in place. And then exhale. Big inhale, sweep the arms back. Open up the chest. Hands might be by the low back or on top the hips and waist. Let's straighten our left leg, pulling the elbows back, poking out the chest and the ribs forward. Imagine you're maybe mimicking a chicken or a bird. Opening the throat, 3 big chest or heart breaths. Inhaling to the center of the chest. Exhale, relax. 2 more. Let's relax the hands. Bend that front knee. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, swan dive down, shifting forward. Both hands lightly touching the left thigh. Let's bend both knees. Push the hips back, keeping a flat back for now. From here, slowly shifting back into that right foot. We'll lift up the left big toe, keeping both knees bent. Inhale, lengthening out through the spine, pressing back into the hips and pushing down into that right foot, creating maybe a little more sensation in the back of the right heel or in the back of the right ankle, maybe even along the right calf. Inhaling in place. Exhale, soften a little. Inhale again. This time softening into that gentle C shape. Coming down, dropping the shoulders, dropping the head. We can keep our hands on the left thigh to give a little more support to the spine, or walk the hands down, maybe experimenting with releasing the shoulders a little more. No matter where we go with this, relaxing the back of the head and the neck and shaking it out a little bit. When you're ready, lower that left foot. Let's walk the hands up onto the left thigh, slowly coming up to neutral. From here, we step forward, establishing our hips width or pelvis bone width distance with the soles of our feet. Let's soften our knees. Inhale, scoop up the breath. Big inhale, reach up. Palms forward, sweep it back. Big backstroke movement. 2 more. Inhale up. Exhale back. Last one. Exhale back. Inhale, bringing the hands to the heart. From here, let's take our feet out wide into a straddle. The feet might be a little wider than the hips. It could be at hips width as well. If we know that this feels better on the back, keep the feet inside the frame of your yoga mat, or take it out a little wider than your yoga mat. From our standing straddle position, let's place our hands down on the hips. We're shifting our tailbone back and pushing that buttocks towards the back wall, keeping a flat back and keeping our legs straight with the toes forward. From here, we may even want to shift into the front of the foot in our standing straddle position, creating a little more sensation in the front of the foot, and perhaps even waking up some of those nerves and muscles in the low back here. Option to put the hands down on the thighs, using our arms to prop up the spine while we work on opening the back and sides of the hips. Hold it here, inhale. On the next exhale, relax again and create that gentle curve in the upper back. Letting go of any impulse to force that stretch in the upper back, allowing the spine to create its shape naturally with your exhale. Inhale in place, exaggerate that exhale, big breath from the throat. 2 more like that, hanging out like a rag doll. Last one. To safely come out of this, we may want to slowly inch the heels in, bend the knees, then walk the hands up to the thighs. Let's straighten the arms to flatten our back. Push the buttocks and tailbone behind you. Then load into the legs and slowly come up to standing. Let's walk our feet in towards each other, moving into a little bit of standing balance today. For our standing balancing pose today, moving into tree, shifting our weight over into our right foot. We're drawing that left foot in close and lifting the heel. Turning that left knee out to the side, we're resting the left heel onto the inside of the right ankle. Option to keep the hands at the hips, or maybe take those hands to the heart. Sometimes it feels good to open up into cactus arms. This is also sometimes known as goal post arms, like a goalie. Maybe we hold it here as we work on balance. Or if we're curious, we can always slide that left toe off the floor and press the sole of the left foot into the right leg, avoiding any pressure on that kneecap. Inhaling, pull the elbows back. Exhale, inhale, lengthen from the crown of the head, push into the right foot, and feel that you're growing like a tree, the trunk of the body strong, lengthening towards the sky. One more inhale. Exhale, relax. Let's relax the arms. Step both feet to the floor. Give the body an opportunity to feel fully supported by the earth. Shake off the knees. Let's shift over into our left foot, bringing the right foot in close, turning that right knee out to the side, pressing our right heel into the inside of the left ankle. Hands might be at the heart, at the hips, maybe to the side like a tightrope walker, or cactus arms. Holding it here, working on strengthening the trunk of the body, push into the left foot, lengthen through the crown of the head. Big inhale. Exhale, reposition that right foot at any time. Experiment with lifting that foot off the floor. We can also hold on to a chair or put our hand on the wall for a little base of support. Continuing to breathe easy. Big inhale, lengthen. Exhale, relax. At least 1 or 2 more breaths here. At any time, if your body is ready to exit the pose, go ahead and just get out. When your body says it's done, it's done. Let's all release those arms, release the legs. Again, both feet on the floor, giving our body time to feel fully supported by the earth. From here, let's grab a quick sip of water before we come down onto the floor and do a little bit more core work and some deeper stretching. Making our way down to the floor, we're hinging from our hips and walking the hands down, taking one foot back and bending both knees. Taking our other foot back, let's come around into seated, bending both of our knees in front of the body. We could always sit on a pillow or a blanket to give our tailbone a little extra cushioning. Let's open the feet up wide so that there's space for our ribs and body to move through the thighs. From here, shifting forward, just checking in with our mobility before we work on a lot of tension or strength in the core. Coming forward, inhale, lift the chin and open the throat. And then pull the navel back, drop the chin to the chest and exhale. Inhale forward, lift the chin and chest. Exhale back, contract the belly, drop the chin to the chest. One more, inhale forward, limbering up the center of the body, the core energy. Exhale back. Let's come to center. From here, walk the feet in and maybe even touch the toes together. Let's slide our hands back past our hips, keeping the fingertips in the same direction as our feet. One of the most common misalignments here is to turn the hands completely back or out from the body. When we do this, this creates a different rotation in the shoulder, and it actually causes the front of the chest to open, which means we're going to lose those stabilizing trunk muscles that are around your rotator cuff. So it's not bad to rotate back, but for the movement that we're doing, working with the core, it could create discomfort over time. So thumbs sliding past the hips, planting those hands down behind us, leaning back just a little bit. Let's start by opening up the gut. Act surprised. 1, 2, 3. Getting that little lift in the back. So it's the same movement that you would do if somebody was to drop a piece of ice down the back of your shirt. That little surprise breath, engaging the muscles in the inner ribs and core. From here, let's lift our left toe and then push through your left heel, straightening out that leg as much as it will go. Slowly curl it in. Let's lift our right toe, Push through the heels, straightening that leg, keeping the spine tall, and then slowly bring it in. Let's continue to alternate this and choreograph the breath with it. Inhale, left toe and push. Exhale, relax. Lift the right toe, inhale, push. Exhale, relax. Left toe lift, push. Exhale, relax. Right toe lift and push. And relax. One more on each side. Left toe lift, big inhale. And relax. Right leg lift, inhale. And relax. From here, let's slowly take the right hand off of the floor. Continue to lengthen through the spine. Inhale in place. Exhale, twist to the left, passing that right arm over the left knee, and maybe even looking over the left shoulder. Let's bring that to neutral. Right hand down beside the right hip. Inhale, left arm extension. Exhale, twist to the right, passing that right hand over the right knee, looking over the right shoulder. Bring it to center and relax. Let's keep alternating that with the breath. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, twist. Over to the left. Inhale, center and relax. When you're ready, left arm up. Twist to the right. Bringing it to center. Relax. One more on each side. Right arm up and twist. To center and back. Left arm up and twist. Center and back. Great. From here, let's go ahead and extend both legs, pulling the toes in towards our body, finding seated stack, sitting nice and tall, lengthening through the crown of the head. Lower the chin enough so that an egg could roll off your head, softening through the base of the skull, along the sides of the spine, maybe even closing the eyes and just focusing on breathing a little more length in through the trunk of the body. Inhale into the belly, through your ribs, up under the shoulder blades. Exhale, naturally the spine is going to soften or shrink a little bit. Inhale, using the breath, the filling of the lungs to encourage more length. In seated staff, push through the heels, pull those toes towards you. Exhale, a little bit of softening. Just one more, big inhale. And exhale. Let's add in a forward fold with this. Inhale in place. Exhale, lean forward just a tiny bit, only as much as the body permits. We could walk the hands towards our feet, or we could keep the hands right next to our thighs with the palms pressing into the floor. Let's soften our upper spine, drop the chin to the chest, maybe even put the hands on tops of your knees. Focus on feeling the breath in the back of the lungs, breathing along the sides of the spine and the back body. To safely come up, keep the head down. Let's walk the hands in, stacking the vertebra from the low back to the middle back. Last of all, lifting through the neck and the head, neutral chin and head position. Let's bend our knees, touch the toes together, and then open those knees out into butterfly pose. So traditional butterfly is a forward fold, with the toes touching and the knees bent. Let's add a little spin to this today by incorporating a little more detox for the kidneys and liver. Inhale, lengthen with a flat back. Go ahead and reach the right arm across to the left knee, and then take that left hand by your left hip, sitting nice and tall, creating a gentle twist in that butterfly expression. Looking over the left shoulder, keeping the chin down. Notice the path of least resistance for your breath here. It could be up in the left side of the chest. We may even feel the breath under our right shoulder blade. Embrace a bit of stillness. Notice the body's impulse to move or an impulse to hold the breath even. Keep the breath fluid while the body is still. That's going to be our counterbalance. Active breath when the body is still. Maybe hold it here a little longer if you're noticing that this is a stretch that's bringing some relief to your body. You might need it just a little more on one side. To experiment with the other side, slowly bring the head and neck to neutral. Let's inhale to find neutral, lengthening the spine, and then exhale, twist it to the right. Left hand going across to the right knee. Right hand close to the right hip. Lean back a little bit if that creates a little more balance in the pose or even comfort. Looking over the right shoulder. One more easy breath. Stay a little longer if it feels right for you. Otherwise, please take your sweet time, slowly coming out of that twist. From here, let's counter that with shifting forward, neutral spine, traditional butterfly. Soften the upper back, head, and neck. Focus on long exhales here. To release the low back even more, purse the lips and exhale as if you're going to whistle or blow bubbles. Let's slowly bring the hands in, stack the vertebra. Last of all, lifting the neck and the head. From here, bring the knees together. Let those knees sway a little bit left and right from seated. Letting any extraneous or random energy that might be straddling in the body, let it work itself out through those hips, through the knees, and then finally kick off the legs and work that busy energy out of the feet. When you're ready, go ahead and roll over onto one side. Let's lie down, rolling over onto our backs, nice and slow. This is where it all began today. This is where the body first came into that still place for the practice. Constructive resting pose, knees bent, lying flat on our back. Let's hug the knees to the chest again, adding in another gentle sway. Come to center Let's cup the hands on top of the knees and slowly circle those knees clockwise, starting with some pretty small circles. This way the body has plenty of room to grow, so we're able to maybe spiral out from that more neutral place and begin to explore the sensations that are kind of out there with that bigger range of motion. When you're ready, reverse that circle. Easy does it. Starting so that the range of motion is small, giving the body time and space to explore. Spiraling that energy out from the knees, the hips, and the back. Let's bring the knees to center. Hold on behind the thighs and give the body a big hug, a nice big embrace here. Find the breath. Maybe it's along the sides of the lungs this time. While we hug those knees in tight, the breath is going to be restricted in the belly or in the stomach. So instead, let that breath move out to the sides of the lungs, out under the armpits, the sides of the ribs and waist, even on tops of the hips. Let's release our hands down, lower down the feet. Now let your body decide for itself if it wants to keep the knees bent or if those legs might want to lengthen out onto the floor, opening the front of your hip. If this feels uncomfortable at all, having the legs straight, you could bend your knees. You could also experiment with putting a big pillow or some blankets underneath your knees. That way it's more of a supported knee bend for your low back. From here, let's take the right leg, the right arm across to the left shoulder, and then the left arm across the right. Give the body a big hug. Maybe even pull the shoulder blades out from the spine. And then let go and relax the arms down beside you. Finding any easy resting position for your body as we move into our final meditation and relaxation pose. Remember, you do not have to stay still in final meditation, but ultimately there can be some benefits to noticing when the body becomes jittery, noticing when there is an impulse to move, and not giving into that impulse. There are also benefits to noticing that impulse to move, and then noticing that space between awareness of a sensation and acting on that sensation. So decide for yourself. There's no right or wrong way to be in this practice. Sometimes it is absolutely necessary to move so that you can create more comfort. Other times movement is a distraction, keeping us from dealing with the mind stuff. And only we can decide for ourselves the intention behind that movement. This is our personal yoga practice. And as much as we call it a practice, you could also call it a big experiment. Every time we step onto the mat, we are here discovering new things about our mind and body. Find your breath, no matter where you are right now, and begin to shape that breath so that you keep it in the lower 2/3 of your lungs. Breathing down into the belly, allowing the breath to rise up, maybe just an inch or two past the belly button. Keeping the breath out of the chest and away from the heart space as much as possible. Inhale down into the belly. Maybe feel that breath filling out to the sides of the lungs and into your low back. Allowing that breath to rise up just a little higher than the navel. And if we still feel like we need a bigger breath, fill that space in the back of the lungs, in the sides of the lungs. Round out the belly and the abdomen as much as possible, embracing that fullness of the breath in the trunk of your body. Keeping the heart still. Now maybe begin to visualize the breath, and in visualizing the breath, you might see it as a color. You might sense it as even a shape. So maybe it's not in color, but maybe it's a wave that comes to mind. Maybe it's a wind, a breeze of energy that flows through the body, a wave that bathes over the body. The breath can also be sensed through its weight. So as we inhale, notice, is it heavy or light? Noticing the breath through more physical qualities, expansion and contraction. As we inhale, the expansion of the lungs, does it make us feel heavy or light? And as we exhale, the contraction, the tightening of the lungs, does that make us feel heavy or light? There's no right or wrong answer here. It's just taking time to interpret the breath's characteristics. Let's give the breath a voice, absorbing sound with every inhale and exhale. On the inhale, the breath says, ah. Breathing in, feeling as if your whole body with that breath absorbs the sound ah. Exhaling, hearing ta. Sensing that the sound of ta vibrates out with your exhale. Let's take another couple quiet minutes to simply work with the breath's characteristics, and you might work with its color, its feelings, its sounds, or even the shape of the breath. Taking the next 2 quiet minutes to meditate on the beauty of the breath. Allow the breath to deepen, and in that deepening of the breath, in that bit of effort, notice that you're able to maybe inspire a little bit of movement, maybe even let the breath come up into the chest. Inspiration from the inhalation, breathe in a little deeper. Maybe the feet want to move or the hands want to move. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. Let's check in. If you know that you can maybe embrace a little more stillness today, stay here. You don't have to get up. You could even just go to sleep if you want. For those of you that maybe carved out this hour, we are nearing the end. We're in those final few minutes. So breathe a little deeper in preparation for easy seated. Wiggle your toes again, bend your knees, straighten your legs. To keep the low back safe and also to prevent dizziness, it is recommended that we bend our knees and let those knees sway a little bit, keeping the feet on the floor. Notice what side feels more comfortable to roll onto, and then roll onto your side and breathe on your side 3 to 5 breaths. Find the breath in the low back, the middle back. Taking your top arm onto the floor, roll towards the hands and slowly guide the body up into any easy seated position. Once you make your way here, the body may want to work out a little bit more energy, rolling out the wrist, moving the head around, raise your eyebrows and smile. It is an absolutely magnificent day. From wherever you are, you're welcome to join me in our final closing gesture with a bow, drawing the hands together at the heart, Anjali Mudra. Inhaling, lengthening the spine. Exhaling together. Namaste, everyone. Go enjoy your absolutely beautiful day and keep breathing. Until next time.